welcome back to the Football Tragics. I'm here with Tony, Baxter, and myself. I'm Aaron. We're bringing you a 2022 Qatar World Cup predictions preview, whatever you want to call it. I've got my Kiwi jersey on. Should have been there. We're not. Tony's got the Aussie gear. He's repping it. Baxter, you're playing neutral for today, it seems.
Lads,
I'll be the referee.
How are we doing today, lads? Are we keen to get into this? The World Cup is, 2 days away now? I'm as excited as ever. It's a massive tournament. It comes around every 4 years. Can't wait. Tony, what are your thoughts?
It's a bit bittersweet. Obviously, I'm jumping on that Aussies. It's always there. It's good to be there. Obviously, Italy's not there, which is a bit disappointing. But I think regardless of the circumstance, it's going to be a cracking World Cup. And there's some big names that could miss out, but I'm sure we'll get into that soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, Italy did miss out, so that means your loyalty is only lying in one spot now. It's with the Aussies. So before we get into them, we're going to get through each group individually. We're going to start it off with Group A. It's the hosts, Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. Look, for me, Netherlands have to top this group. Simple as that. They're coming in decent form. They're the favourites for sure. That's all I've got to say. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty straightforward win in the group. I think it is Netherlands. I'll take out that group. Obviously, then it does fall into who's going to get second. It's definitely a very interesting group. I think Senegal, I think they're a bit done with injuries. Ecuador, well, let's see if they accept those bribes that have been tweeted. So I'm going to go Netherlands first, Qatar second to get out of this group for me.
Baxter, do you agree with Tony there?
Yeah, I'm with Tony as I accept my brown paper bag. I'll put Qatar second.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully in agreement. I think Qatar, look, they could be in for a run similar to South Korea in 2002 on home soil. I'm not saying there's any bribe or anything going on, but you never know. Qatar, they're the Asian champs. They actually are pretty strong right now, probably one of the better Asian teams. So, yes, we can say all they want, it's the home nation, but at the end of the day, they probably would have qualified even on merit. They're good enough. So I think that first game against Ecuador, it's huge. If they get a 3 points there, I fancy them to get second spot. But yeah, Netherlands, can't see them not getting top spot in this. Wouldn't be surprised if they get 9 points. Now, England, Group B, Iran, USA, and Wales in their group. Baxter, start with you. England again, should they top this group, or is it tricky?
Nah, I've got USA topping group. With a sneaky Wales coming second with England to pack their bags early.
That's the first bombshell of the episode, I think. Tony, I don't think you're in agreement there, the way you were looking at that.
Oh, I definitely don't have England going out. I think that's a silly man's business. But, hey, if they did go out, I'm not complaining. The beer's already gone, which I'm sure we'll touch on soon. So I don't think the English fans are looking forward to getting out of there as soon as possible. But I'm going to go England to top the group, followed by USA. I think they do get past that first stage.
Okay. Look, I've gone England to top the group. I think the only tricky game for me in this is Wales. I think they get past Iran. They get past a USA team who themselves had a tricky run to qualify. They only just kind of scraped by anyway. So I think England should top this group. I know they go in with some pretty horrendous form. I think they haven't won a game in 6 after reaching the Euro final against your boys, Tony. But yeah, I think England get through here with 7 points. I think Wales, they get a draw, but the other 2 wins, and I fancy Wales to get second spot. I think they're pretty underrated. You saw their run in, was it the 2016 Euros? They had a good run right to the semi-finals, I believe. So look, decent squad. Gareth Bale, he's going to retire after the World Cup, so why not go out with a bang? Group C, probably got the best player on the planet, Lionel Messi. Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Tony, I'll start with you. Poland top the group? What do you reckon?
Well, for that reason alone, I almost did pull on an Argentinian shirt with Messi on the back that I was given as a gift, but I couldn't pull myself to do that just yet. Let's wait to the groups. We'll see if Australia gets out, and maybe that jersey then comes out of the cupboards. But, yeah, Argentina top this group. I think it's clear, daylight. I'm not going to say there's any... not bribery going around, but I think there'd be a lot of riots if Messi does not get out of the groups here. So Argentina to top the group, Mexico second, Poland third, Saudi Arabia dead last, 0 points. Okay.
Look, I mean, Saudi Arabia, again, a team that Australia had a tricky run against in qualifiers. They're decent. They're going in with decent form. So I suppose you can't write them off completely, but do they get out of this group? No, I don't think so. Lionel Messi, as I said, best player on the planet right now. He's probably the favourite for the Golden Boot with Harry Kane, who we just spoke on. But yeah, for me, I think this is, again, his last major tournament with Argentina. He's going to have to carry them. He's going to want to go out with a bang. So tournament favourites, very strongly possible. Argentina, they should top this group comfortably. But I've got Poland coming second. I think Lewandowski up top. They've got a decent team. Again, Mexico, for me, in that CONCACAF, Mexico and USA didn't look amazing. So I think Poland gets second. And yeah, Saudi Arabia do get fourth in what is a pretty tough group. Baxter, I get Messi, surely, Argentina.
Argentina coming first on goal difference, with Poland second, Mexico third.
Okay. Look, we haven't got into, as I say, golden boots and the winners, eventual winners and shit yet. We're going to get into that in a bit. That's going to be at the very end, so you have to stay tuned for that. But yeah, Argentina on goal difference there doesn't sound like you fancy them to win the whole thing later on. But look, we're going to hold that for now. Let's get into Group D. It's the big one. Tony, you've got the flag around your shoulders there. France, the Aussies, Denmark, and Tunisia. I think a lot of people here are, first off, they're writing off Tunisia. I think everybody thinks that the Aussies' possible only points are coming against Tunisia. For me, Tunisia are a decent team. They beat Japan 3-0 only a few weeks ago, and Japan's a better side than Australia, let's be real. I think they got another win recently as well besides that. So, look, I'll hold my predictions to the end. Baxter, we'll start with you. Do you have Australia going through?
I do, but not first. I have Denmark to top the group. Hopefully our boy doesn't drop dead on the floor again, with Australia second. Tunisia to come third, and the champs to come dead last to keep the voodoo alive.
Wow. I mean, what is it? 3 World Cups in a row now. The eventual winners have bowed out in the group stage. So it wouldn't be a shock, but I think in this group, France should get through. Tony, do you have France going through? No hiccups there?
I'm just a bit upset that he stole my joke that I told him last night about if Ericsson doesn't drop dead, then Denmark top the group. So I do have Denmark topping the group, and I'm going to go with a bit of, I guess, proudness. And I'm going to go Australia, Pippin second place, with France third and Tunisia fourth. The curse continues.
I thought Baxter's shout of England not making it out is the biggest claim so far, but this has topped it. You guys both have France going out. Me personally, France are going through unscathed. I think 7 points at a minimum. I know there's been the hiccups and they might be without a few players, but Mbappe, he's too good. They've got such a strong squad across the park, regardless of their injuries. Probably the best depth in the world, maybe bar Brazil. So for me, they top the group, and yeah, unfortunately, I think the Aussies probably finish bottom. I think Tunisia get third, and then Denmark, again, a decent team.
Wow,
and they get second. I know, like not so patriotic of me, of course, but for me, the Aussies don't look good. I think we're ranked, 30 out of the 32 teams that going into the World Cup on like squad value.
I think because the Kiwis are coming fifth in that group, so that's all right.
We should have been there, but again, yeah, I think just putting bias aside, I just don't think the Aussies are good enough to get out of this group. It's one of the tougher groups, and I think everybody's writing off Tunisia, where, I mean, I'd love to see it happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm cheering them on all the way. But for me, Australia doesn't make it.
You don't do a podcast in Australia without being biased, mate. You obviously didn't read the terms and conditions when we started this. You got to be biased if you're going to be an Australian podcast. You guys said France aren't getting out. Baxter said England's not getting out. This is my bombshell drop. Let's move past the Aussies for now. We're getting to Group E. Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Who is getting out of this group, Tony? I'm going to chuck a bit of another bombshell here. I'm going to go Spain to top the group, Japan to come runners up, and I think Germany bow out early and they go home. I just think the youth of Spain, I think the players they had a really good Euros run. They went up against some really good competitions, and okay, yes, Italy got past them in the Euros, but arguably Spain knocked us around the park. That tic-tac is coming back. They're playing great football. So like I said, Spain top the group, Japan second, Germany third, and Costa Rica fourth. Okay,
Baxter, thoughts? Another bombshell coming from you. There's 2 decent teams in this group and 2 all right teams as well.
I've got Germany topping the group with Japan coming second with Spain third. I think it's just a bit of a tight spot for second there.
Look, the World Cup provides upsets, that's for sure. It does seem like there's one team that always doesn't make it out of the group. It's a big team, but for me, I've not got it happening this year. Whether that's because it's a Winter World Cup, I don't know. Well, for them anyway. But I've got Germany first, Spain second. I haven't really decided between the other two, but probably Japan, then Costa Rica. I think it's going to be one. Not it's not going to be an easy group, that's for sure. But I think both Germany and Spain, get through pretty decent here. Let's move into Group F now, and that's Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. Baxter, we'll start with you again. Belgium, they lost 2-1 to Egypt in a friendly just a day ago, today even. Is that a scare, or does that not matter going into the World Cup?
Doesn't really matter going into a friendly because you could be resting players because you've got a big tournament coming up. But I don't see Belgium making it out of this group. I've got our boys, Canada, coming first, Croatia to come second, and Morocco to come last. I don't think Belgium can afford to get out of this group stage, no matter how much they pay. Go Canada, eh?
Well, I'm on the Canada train with you, that's for sure. But I almost can't take you seriously. That's three huge teams that aren't going to make it out of the groups.
Hey, I'm on another podcast, and I've been making bombshells all over there, and I'm getting them right so far. So keep on
definitely time will tell. But Tony, for me, this is a pretty underrated group in my opinion. I think a lot of the teams across the park are pretty stacked evenly. Belgium being the best in the group. Do you have them coming first?
Yeah, I've got Belgium coming first, Croatia coming second. It's hard to look past, obviously, that Belgium squad. They've got the good players. We make jokes about him, but obviously Lukaku is an absolute weapon up top. He can do what he wants to do. I made a joke yesterday. I gave Baxter a minute to try and give me more than 2 Canadian players, and he couldn't do that. So he's got him getting out of the group. So besides Jonathan David.
The goalkeeper from AFC Richmond. Come on.
But yeah, definitely Belgium, Croatia, and then daylight between these groups.
Okay, so you're writing off Canada and Morocco. Yep, you've got Croatia, the 2018 finalists, in there. So it wouldn't be a shock to see them go through. They probably should. But for me, I've got Belgium top in the group and then Canada coming second. I've been pretty impressed with Canada. I think they were the ones from the CONCACAF that completely owned it, and they deserve fully to go to make it the World Cup in some fashion. They did. They've got goal scorers across the park, a couple of decent ones there. They've got Alphonso Davies, who was almost an out, but he's luckily been able to be injury-free and make it through. So I'm hoping that Canada in the second ever World Cup can do some business, surprise a few people. They're not going to obviously win the thing, but hopefully they can surprise a few people and send Croatia home. Now, could there be the eventual winners in here? We've got Brazil, we've got Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. And when I say eventual winners, I only mean Brazil. Tony, do you have Brazil again topping this group, and who's the second one? If it's
I tossed up here. Brazil, definitely. I had them winning the groups. I tossed up with second. I think a lot of people are going to obviously write off that Cameroon. They're going to write off Serbia to an extent. I'm not going to write them off completely. I think this is going to be one of those groups where it's either goal difference or head-to-head or something like that's going to determine who gets out of this group. But I'm going to go second place Switzerland to get out of this group.
Okay, so a Serbia that has a Vlahovic, a Mitrovic, and the rest don't make it out of the group. Okay, that's interesting. Baxter, another bombshell in this group. Brazil not to make it out of the group.
No. I have Brazil. My boy Jesus is going to lead that Brazil side to first place, but I have Serbia coming second. You named them; they're good players, and I think they have enough depth to get second.
Okay, I've not made a few. I've not made too many bombshells, so far, and it's going to continue that way. Brazil top, Serbia second, Switzerland third, Cameroon fourth. I feel like those two don't, they could go either way, but yeah, for me, it's Brazil and Serbia go through pretty comfortably. And then look, we're going to get into the final group now. Again, another pretty impressive group. It's going to be pretty even, in my opinion. We've got Portugal, we've got Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea. I'm going to kick us off this time. Portugal top the group, but only just. Uruguay second, South Korea third, and Ghana, who I think a Ghana team are decent, but very young and a bit inexperienced. They're going to finish fourth, but on merit, they're going to be good. It's going to be a good group in my opinion. Tony, how have you got this one going?
I'm just going to flip. I'm pretty much agreeing with you. I'm just going to flip your first and second. I think Uruguay come out, they hit the ground running, they finish first, Portugal second, South Korea third, and obviously Ghana fourth. No disrespect to anyone from Ghana, but they arguably are one of the weaker teams in this group. So I see them going out.
Baxter, Portugal, what do you reckon? Are they going through?
Nah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Aaron. No bombshells here. Portugal, Uruguay, South Korea, Ghana. That's how it's going to play out. But yeah.
All right. Well, look, that is the groups wrapped up. But let's get into the bigger ones now. The Golden Boot we'll start with before we get into the winners. We can start with the Golden Boot, and that kind of leads me from that most recent group there. I've got Darwin Núñez. I want him to win the Golden Boot, but I don't think he will. But he's my dark horse for the Golden Boot. I think if he can get a few in the group stage, that'll set the tone. But again, if they come second, they meet Brazil. So that for me it's tricky. They're probably going to go out at the round of 16. That's probably as far as they're going to go. But if they top the group, you never know how they're going to go. But Harry Kane for me is the Golden Boot winner. Maybe Messi. I'm so on the fence with this one because Messi's got an easy group. Harry Kane has an easy group. So I don't know. It's toss of the coin between them. But I'd love to see Darwin Núñez be a dark horse and get it out of nowhere. Baxter, who have you got winning the Golden Boot?
Got a surprise. I got the man from Manchester United, Bruno, getting the Golden Boot. I reckon he does more wonders than Ronaldo up front.
Okay, well, look, Portugal, played the other day, and they looked quite good. They looked very good, actually, in fact. But that was without Ronaldo, and we know Ronaldo's going to start. And whether or not he is not as fluid as the rest of the players and kind of breaks down the way teams play and doesn't, enable them to play pretty football, I don't know. But Tony, do you think Ronaldo is going to score any goals this tournament, and who is your Golden Boot?
Oh, I think we've got to be realistic here. I think Ronaldo is going to score in most places that you do put him in. They have a few easy-ish games in that group, so he's probably going to get 1, 2, maybe even 3 goals throughout that. But I see Portugal exiting in that round of 16, round of 8. I don't see him going too deep. So my smoky, I'm going to say Lautaro Martinez has a massive result for Argentina. He might come off the bench the first few games, sneak a few goals, and obviously be one of their main strikers, obviously moving forward. But again, like you said, he's done it time and time again. So if you're going to go on it, you're going to have to say the favourite is going to be Harry Kane, but don't sleep on Martinez because I think he'll go close.
Good shout. All right, Golden Ball now goes to the player, I suppose, the best player of the tournament. Usually goes to someone who makes the final, so that kind of might give away who our eventual winners might be. But for me, I've gone with Neymar. I think he's in for a good World Cup. He's basically come out and said it's going to be his last, potentially. Doesn't know how he feels, but for the most part, he thinks he might retire after this. So big World Cup incoming from him. He's their main man. I don't think he's going to get hacked as much as he was in the 2018 World Cup where he got injured early on. So I think he's in for a big tournament. He's their focal point, that's for sure. Baxter, who have you got with the Golden Ball?
I'm actually giving it to the team that comes second, and it's going to be Lionel Messi getting the Golden Ball.
Okay, well, you've given away that Argentina won't win the World Cup, but you also said that Argentina weren't top in their group. Is that correct? But they still make the final.
I just think it's just going to be a gimme ball for Lionel Messi. His last one. I think the bad press around Ronaldo, he won't get it. So I think it's got to be Messi.
Okay, and Tony?
I've got to agree with you, Neymar. It might give away who I've got going there into that final, but I am going to go with Neymar, but I'm going to go a surprise packet, potentially Kevin De Bruyne, if he does take this up.
Kevin De Bruyne, okay. You said in a squad that has Lukaku, she's going to be feeding him all day, getting assists, and that's going to be enough for him?
Well, mate, if Lukaku could just play like Haaland, just show him a few videos and just whip the ball into the box, it's easy to go. So...
Okay. Baxter, we're going to start with you for our dark horse. You said Canada top that group, so is that your dark horse?
No, I think they just get there and then they drop off the next round of 16. But I have Japan as my dark horse. They're very strong. You've seen it in the Asian qualifiers. They are a team to be messed with. So I reckon Japan is a dark horse.
Okay. I mean, if they get past Spain and Germany, then and make it out of that group, that is the group of death. Then you'd have to say they're in for a decent shot to do something. For me, I've gone with Canada as my dark horse. I fancy them to get out of that group with Belgium, come second. I don't know how far they can go. I'd like to see them go as far as possible, but for me, they're an unsung team. I think they've got some decent talent there and could provide an upset. That's for sure. Tony, who have you got?
Oh, I could be a bit biased, seeing we do wear their kits on a Thursday night when we do play summer soccer, but I've got the Dutch side. I think they can defensively cause a few teams problems here, and once you get out of the groups, which we all have them getting out of the groups, you put up a defensive display, put your penalties away. It's a way to get through to the finals if you have to go that far. So my dark horse is going to be the Netherlands.
Are they going to have another penalty shootout where they bring on Tim Krul to save him?
Mate, why not? Mate, imagine a final of Tim Krul versus Andrew Redmayne, the Grey Wiggle, in a little penalty shootout battle.
The fact that you think Australia's getting to the final, but look, I'm optimistic like you are. It'd be crazy. But yeah, look, that's the dark horses. Let's get now into the winners before we go through the groups and kind of just wrap things up. But winners for me, I'll start off. I've gone with Brazil. I think Neymar's in for a big tournament. I think it could possibly be. I believe that if things go right, it'll be a Brazil-Argentina semi-final. So if they both top the group. So that's for me. I think Brazil are just a tiny bit stronger than Argentina. And yes, Leo Messi can do it all. But they're going to want revenge for that Copa America result only year before. So Brazil winners 2022 Qatar World Cup. Tony, who have you got?
Well, as you can see, I'm being a bit of a green and gold, so I'm not going to go Australia, but I'm going to side with you with that Brazilian squad. They are brothers in the end. We're both green and gold, so a win for them means we can somewhat claim it. We'll just pixelate the TV a little bit and say, look, the Socceroos are playing, so Brazil to take it out.
Now, Baxter, you said Argentina comes second, so who have you got finishing first?
I'm going to round it out and make it a triple threat of Brazil. I did say it on the last pod.
I think your prediction now might be wrong because I believe that Argentina and Brazil meet in the semis.
Nah.
To be fair, you had Argentina coming second, so that makes everything stand.
No, I have. Yeah, I think I do. I do think
I believe that flips it. So
that's how I have a South America final. So I do have Brazil coming first, Argentina coming second. But come on, Brazil, let's go.
How many fouls do you reckon would be in that game, Aaron? Brazil versus Argentina. Do you reckon 50 plus?
Yeah, but besides a Messi-Ronaldo final, that could be one of the most watched finals of all time because it's Brazil versus Argentina, like two. I mean, Messi's going to be in it if he is against Brazil. It's a Copa America rematch. That'd be fireworks. But like you said, fouls galore, possible red cards. But thankfully, it wouldn't be played in a South American pitch because those pitches are terrible. And the Copa America is just a shit show. But I think this World Cup might be a bit better than that, hopefully. We're going to go through those groups again, kind of wrap them up before we finish off. So Group A, basically I wanted to show off these slides that Tony made. Couldn't let him go on.
Good.
Let him go wasted. So look, yeah, we've got Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. We've set our predictions. England, Iran, USA, Wales there. Group B. Group C, Argentina, possible winners. Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Group D, we have France, the mighty Socceroos, Denmark, and Tunisia. Group E, Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, Japan, possible group of death. Probably the group of death. Group F, Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. I couldn't tell from that emblem there for a second. It took me a bit. Group G, we've got the eventual winners from all of us, Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. Group H is Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, South Korea. And they are all the groups. Now, for me, Tony, I just want to jump back on Socceroos for a bit because, look, we're an Australian podcast. We've got to mention them. We can't just skim over it. I know I wrote off Socceroos, but to the fact that we play on this side of the world in these conditions regularly, like every game's a hot game in the A-League and there's quite a few A-League players there, does that make a difference? Because you've seen the likes of England, they've got massive fans that are blowing mist at their training sessions. They can't get used to the heat yet. But Australia, they should be one of the teams that are used to the heat. Does that pose a threat to a team like France?
I think it does. I think Australia goes in having played in these conditions, but I think a bonus also, we're 6 or 7 rounds into our league where other teams are 16, 17 games into their league. So we've seen already there's injuries, there's fatigue coming into those players. a lot of these Australian players are going in fresh. And some of them don't even start for their team. So there's a big one right there. We've got the depth coming off the bench. Obviously, Kowal going to Newcastle, massive signing. So you've got a potential Premier League player in the next year or two coming off our bench, adding spark when the rest of the teams are fatigued. So I think the weather, the league where we're up to, plays to Australia's advantage.
Yeah, you definitely make a good point there. You'd almost think that it'd be the opposite, and that the longer you've been playing for, the better they'll be because of the match fitness. But like you said, we've seen injury after injury, and this World Cup couldn't have come at a worse time for a lot of players. So maybe it does play into the Socceroos' hands there, having been a bit fresher. Now, you mentioned Graham Quall, Baxter. How important is he going to be for the Socceroos, or is Graham Arnold going to stuff it up and not give him the game time he probably deserves?
It's a hard one because you don't want to overwork him and just play him every game for 90 minutes straight, nor do you want to have him sitting on the bench playing 0 minutes for the first 3 games. So I think he's going to have to bring him on probably at the 60th minute, give him some game time through the legs, and maybe he brings him on more so if we do qualify longer into the Cup. He might get more game time, maybe get less. He might start, I don't know, but he's a player to watch out for the Socceroos.
Well, you say longer.
Sorry, I'll just jump in then, Aaron. Just quickly, I'll just jump in. I think Australia, we're not expected to get out of the group, so there's none of this resting during the group stage. You're throwing your best players out there. You're trying to get through, and you know what? If he burns out and we can't use him in the end of the 16, the final 16, well, as an Australian, Aaron, if you get to the final 16, are you going to care if we get knocked out by an Argentina?
Exactly right. Well, I think if we finish second in Argentina, their group, that is Argentina. That we're going to come up against the world's best player. I don't think anybody would give us a chance there. It'd be a miracle. So
I don't know the world's best player plays for Argentina.
Nah, Cumdog plays for Australia, mate.
But look, Baxter, you mentioned resting. Like you said, the longer we get into the tournament, again, there's 3 games, maybe 4 max. The way it is, I can't see us getting past an Argentina if we get
a World Cup's different to the club, a club game. So the atmosphere, the pressure gets to you. So you might be able to play 60 minutes regularly without a drop in a sweat. You go over there, it's going to be pumping heat. Apparently, these stadiums are cold. It's a different type of beast over there. So I reckon, you might get 60 minutes in a club game. You can only play 40 or 45 minutes before you.
I think the stadiums were pretty well acclimatized. I know they have air conditioning and stuff, but they're not going to be cold, that's for sure. They're going to be at best warm. Like, it's still going to be a hot summer's day in reality. Graham Quall has never started a professional game. He's never played 90 minutes. He's played always.
Yeah, can Mbappe play at the Central Coast with the sauce bottles?
No, he can't. He can't.
For me, I don't think he starts against France, Graham Quall. I think that's the right decision. I think he comes on. I think he absolutely comes on about 60th minute, 70th minute, depending on how we're doing. If we're defending a 1-0 lead, maybe not because of the circumstances. But if we're trailing, he comes on and he's pretty electric. And then depending on his performance, he then starts against Tunisia. That's the way I see it. So, look, I think we're in agreement. I'm pretty surprised by Baxter's selections here. A lot of bombshells there, blowing me out of the water, to be fair. But look, it's going to be a huge World Cup, and we're going to try to bring you as many pods throughout. We don't know when they're going to be, but we'll try to get through them. Maybe end of the group stage, going into the knockouts and whatnot. We're going to bring you some coverage of the tournament, that's for sure, because it's going to be an absolute belter. And I'm not talking about the weather, but yeah. Look, this is going to be up in this afternoon, a few hours time. 2 days before World Cup, so plenty of time to get your watch in, and then we will see you again after the group stages. Tony, Baxter, thanks for joining me, lads, and we'll see you again soon.
See you later, mate.